I recently added the Sony ZV-E1 to my camera bag, and in this video I wanted to share with you guys the reasons why I bought it, my first impressions of the camera, and why I think that it is almost perfect for what I do. I've been using just one camera body for all of my photography and video for the last year. And while I have really loved using the Sony a7 IV, recently I've felt the need to get a second camera body. Situations where I'm out and about, I'm by myself, and I want to show some B-roll of me shooting some photos, or some B-roll of my camera or the particular lens that I might be using. I haven't been able to do that unless I use a GoPro, which is super wide and it's not always the best image quality, or if I have a friend with me who happens to have a camera. Also, relying on friends and using a completely different camera every time I'm shooting behind the scenes footage, it makes it harder to keep my footage consistent. Now, it is not exactly a smaller version of an a7S III. There are quite a few things that this camera body lacks when you compare it to the a7S III, but I don't need an a7S III. I just need this. The marketing around this camera is confusing, to say the least. On one hand, you've got the hardware of an a7S III, as well as all those crazy frame rates in 4K. It shoots S-Log3 with S-Gamut Cine, and it even has support for embedding your own LUTs. But then they chose to add all these consumer gimmicks, like this cinematic vlog mode that adds crop bars to your footage. There's this product showcase mode that personally I don't think I'll ever use. And then this weird reframing thing that digitally crops in and follows you around the frame if you're moving around. And the price point on this camera, while it's very enticing for me as a content creator, it's not exactly a consumer price point, I don't think. So in my opinion, it's just a bit of a strange pairing, this professional, almost industry-leading hardware paired up with these kind of consumer gimmicky features in the software. But I guess that's just Sony's decision. That's the direction they want to go in with this camera. For me, there are just so many advantages of the ZV-E1 as a B cam mainly focused on shooting video. It uses exactly the same battery as my a7 IV, which is great. I don't have to buy new batteries and they're interchangeable. It's small and lightweight, so it fits into my bag almost without me noticing that it's there. And it has the embedded gyro data in the footage, so I can also stabilize in post. If you guys know me, you know I love using that Catalyst browse workflow to stabilize my footage. And as I mentioned before, it has LUTs built in, so I can pretty much see how my footage, how the end result is going to look while still recording in a log profile. One of the biggest selling features for me is the uncropped 4K 50 and 60p, because the a7 IV actually has a 1.5 times crop when you shoot in 4K 50 or 60p. So one less compromise when going for the ZV-E1 for video. Also, the price is comparable to the a7 IV. It's not a great deal more expensive. In fact, I think it might even be a little bit cheaper. On top of that, if I'm ever going to be doing a shoot where I want to be using two different lenses at a time and I don't want to worry about switching in between cameras, then I can always pick this up as a photo camera. Yes, it has 12 megapixels. It's not exactly the resolution that I would prefer. I do like having 30 megapixels in the a7 IV, but most of my work ends up online, whether it's on my website or on Instagram. So 12 megapixels, it's not a massive deal, and it's super nice just having a second body there, ready to go, ready to shoot. One other feature that I love about this camera is the onboard microphone. So the microphone on top can actually change directions. So right now I'm standing behind the camera and I'm just, showing, here's my Mamiya RZ67, and you should be able to hear my voice coming through pretty clearly. So usually when I used to do shots like this, I would reverse mount a microphone on top of the camera, And I guess I don't really have to do that anymore. I can just pick up the camera and go. So it's great if you're showing off a product like this, or you're showing somebody a space or something like that. I've taken the camera on a few shoots so far and I'm already loving how the footage is looking. It's very much similar to the A7 IV, the footage that I was getting out of the A7 IV. So when it comes to the color grading, workflow, everything like that, it's all very similar and very smooth transition. Another cool thing that I figured out is that when you're stabilizing the footage in Catalyst Browse, you can actually embed the LUT into the output file. So if you got your white balance right, you nailed your exposure, you can kind of skip a step in post. I filmed an entire behind the scenes shoot with my friend Gerard. We were filming for over an hour and the camera didn't overheat once, shooting in 4K 25p. Now, as you can see, this camera does not have a viewfinder. It also does not have a mechanical shutter or dual card slots. Maybe a downside for some people, but not for me. I don't really use a viewfinder when I'm shooting video all that often. I'm more so relying on the LCD screen, and not having the redundancy of two cards, like simultaneously recording video to both at once. You never know what can happen on a shoot. Maybe one of the SD cards can get corrupted. That in fact happened to me some time ago. It's very rare, but it does happen. I probably wouldn't recommend this camera as your only camera or your A cam if you're shooting anything that you can't reshoot. Okay, so that's my first impressions of the ZV-E1 and some reasons why I decided to pick it up. I will probably make a follow-up maybe after I've been using the camera for about 3 months and show way more footage that I've been able to capture with it. But for now, I'm just excited to get out and make stuff with this camera. Hopefully it's going to enable me to get a wider range of footage in different situations. So yeah, I'm just excited to get out and use it. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I will see you all in the next one.